This is episode 43 of the Double Cross Anime Podcast. I'm Whooper, and Mario's here with me, as always.
Hello, everyone.
So since it's episode 43, we're going to do episode 3 of Mob Psycho, Kaguya, Dororo, and The Promised Neverland. And then volume 8 of Akuno Hana, out of 11 total volumes. So we're coming in on the end. We got a few more episodes worth of discussion on that before we move on to something new.
Yep.
Just as a quick note before I forget, there will be no podcast next week. So we'll be back in 2 weeks. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. So where are we starting?
We can start at the order that you just said.
Okay.
I think that was a good order.
All right. So then Mob Psycho 100
Mobs.
episode 3 would be first.
That's right.
Okay.
All right,
well,
Whooper, how you feel about these episodes?
I want Mob to go back to school. I wanted to go back to school. I want to see what the deal is with the, Emmy or Eri, whatever, the girl whose notebook he put back together, or story.
Maybe
And
they forget all about her.
And I'm not going to forget about her. She, that was the best part of the season so far for me, was that scene. And then, his crush, the girl, the school idol, and I want to see all the people in all the different clubs. Because, the OP with that fantastic sequence where it's every single character that's ever been introduced in the show kind of falling backwards like dominoes.
Yep.
I miss all of those people. I don't want to just keep seeing him and Reagan messing around with random clients, even if their problems tie into whatever point the show is trying to make about Mob's character.
All right. I like this episodes. I think that Mob Psycho 100 haven't produced any bad episodes so far. This one is good as well, and I think this one is racing developing into a mob act of he facing hit crisis basically.
Right. Yeah.
So
when he's soaking in the bathtub at the end of the episode, he's
right.
he's considering the consequences of what he would do if he were to use his powers against people, not just spirits, which is something that we actually got a taste of in the first episode, when he fought against that scarecrow monster, and he was thinking about his ability to control people and organisms at the cellular level.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're getting a little bit deeper into that, and that's coming more and more to the forefront of his mind.
Yep. So I think this act gonna be a mob will be an anti-hero. It's gonna be some he gonna do against the people. He gonna be on the same side as the spirit.
Okay. That's kind of interesting. I don't know. Mob so far has been kind of pure and incorruptible as a character.
Mm-hmm.
For example, near the start of the episode when Reagan, the guy who comes in and says, I want you to put a curse on somebody, and of course Reagan just BS's his way out of it and writes the word curse on on a charm, and he asks Mob, is there anyone you want to curse? And Mob thinks about it seriously. But he can't come up with anybody. He just doesn't hold ill will towards anyone, or
But later on in this episode, the show actually give a reason why Morph gonna side up with the spirits, as he gain sympathy to the families, the dead families, who just wanted to stay together and not harm anyone.
right.
Even to the flaming guy. Why do I always forget his name?
The flaming guy.
The Cheney.
Oh, Dimple.
Dimple, yeah. Even if Dimple he pushed the husband, the ghost husband to haunt the other persons,
or to kill them.
to kill them, basically, yes. And that was harsh of him actually, but I think now when looking back, that was kind of necessary. to
Well,
like push him onto the edge so that Moff can have a reason to terminate him and other spirits.
yeah, I kind of got the sense from that scene that he was just checking to see whether the husband, the father of that family of three,
Yep,
was actually like an evil spirit or not, whether he had that potential.
that's right.
Because
That's
he,
right.
he says later, just moments after that, to Reagan, I tried to convince him to use his power, but he wouldn't do it.
Yep, that's
So
right.
in essence, he kind of justified Mob's pacifism
Mm-hmm.
by proving, that they were the sort of spirits who weren't going to cause any harm or who didn't have any ill will towards people. So it was okay that Mob allowed them to live.
Yep. So that's really the hard decision to Mob as well. So he he had to exercise this spirit because of the client request. Basically, because of Regan tell him to do, but
Right.
he doesn't want to do it.
Reagan in the end says you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do.
That's right. But so I actually also like the next sequence where Regan actually reflect upon himself about like if he overlook Moth problems, and I like that I like that how he actually he's still the one who really care about Mob, but he doesn't know like the magnitude of Mob's issues.
Right. Yeah, I mean, how could he? He's a phony.
That's right. So yeah, I do think that this episode worked out well. I do like some of the more like school stuff as you say, but I also see that this episode working Mob up into like one of his personal crisis.
I just want Mob Romcom 100.
That's not a bad one.
Yeah, man, I'd be down for like 10 seasons of that.
Or maybe that's gonna be in the next arc.
I I like with this show, I'm against the concept of arcs.
Right.
I don't want there to be arcs like there are in, say, a shonen series. I just want to watch Mob's life play out
Mo-
like a little more naturally and a little less like
well, Mob Arc,
dramatically.
yeah, Mob Arc is not that like epic compared to other shonen's manga or anime, as we say. But I think Mob Arc is actually very clear as well. Like the moment he go to 100, it's gonna be like a climax, so to
Well,
speak.
yeah. Yeah, but I mean, do you remember the entire second half of the first season was
Yep,
him fighting against Claw?
right. That's right. That's right.
That could be considered an arc, like the Claw arc. And if
Mhm.
if this season is going to follow a similar formula, where the second half, let's say, or even just the last third, is going to be just combat scene after combat scene, then we're running out of time for more of like Mob's daily life and
That's
hijinks.
that's right.
So
Well,
I mean, we got an appearance from his brother and Onigawara and the Body Improvement Club in that little that little segment where he refuses to use his powers on the bullies.
yep.
Which ties into the whole question of what would happen if I used my psychic abilities against people.
Mhm.
They get a little cameo because they're all willing to exert themselves, I guess, or for his sake to protect him,
Mhm.
using their strength. But Mob, of course, being the strongest character in the series,
Mhm.
or one of them, maybe there are some guys who are on another level who we haven't met yet.
Mhm.
Mob feels as though he can't do that because he's a very conscientious person
Mhm.
and like a very nervous person. So I mean, I like this episode. I thought it was good.
Yep.
But it's not what I want to see the most.
Right.
So that's just like a personal preference.
Yeah, I don't blame you though. But I think that the next episodes maybe it's come to his climax and then resolve it. So that these are this slice of life stuff can be, in the next few episodes afterwards.
I hope so, man. We didn't talk at all about there were like three jobs in this episode that Reagan and Mob took on.
I don't remember the first two.
I mentioned the first one briefly. It's the guy who just comes into the office and says, "Hey, I want you to
Oh
curse
yeah,
somebody." The
right.
last one, of course, takes up the bulk of the episode because they return to it twice. It's the teenagers who want to get the spirit photo.
Yep.
The middle one is the woman. They're summoned to the woman's apartment, and her next door neighbor is
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
astrally projecting himself outside her window so he can spy on her. And then I think the main thing we're meant to take away from that scene is that Mob doesn't understand why her attitude towards him changes so much. When she thought it was a spirit, then she realized it was a human being, and Mob
Yep.
doesn't get the big difference in her attitude when she
That's
makes that
right.
discovery. So he views spirits and humans as being equally worthy, I guess,
Mm.
or neither one is lesser. They're the
Yep.
same to him because they're conscious existences.
Yep.
So that I suppose ties in with the rest of the episode, because he has that crisis of conscience about exercising the spirits at the end, the family that you mentioned before.
Yep. That also I think is some kind of a dry humor of the show as well. So it starts from the case that have nothing to do with psychic and like supernatural beings. Like it really like a con. It's really stupid. And then we get to the second one was like half psychological, half like dry humor as well. And then we get to the next guy, which is supposed to be another stupid case, and turn out to be that they have spirits in there. So it's
Right.
getting more and more into the spirit side.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. There is sort of a like an upward slope,
Yeah, that's right, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
a progression to the episode.
So yeah, that tie up, that also tie up into the story. So like I still think that on this little story tie up into like the big narrative arc, and like you say, like how Mob seeing of the spirits and the people, the persons, as like like equally terrifying.
Right. Yeah. That's actually seeing people as terrifying. That actually does kind of happen in this episode because when he realizes that he doesn't want to exercise the family of three,
Mhm.
he thinks to himself, "Oh, but then the clients will be upset." And he also mentions to Reagan, like, is it really okay for you to have given him that talisman, even if it's fake? He thinks that he's cursing people. So I think the subtext is, especially after last week when we met the Dragger, who was
Yep,
given power by people's belief.
yep,
I
yep,
think the
yep.
subtext is that Mob is like, because of his spiritual power, he is totally aware of the harm that can be done by allowing like negative thoughts to persist in
That's right.
human minds. So that like he's stuck between a rock and a hard place every time Reagan gives him one of these commands or someone makes this sort of request of him.
Hmm.
Like he has as somebody who's as powerful as he is and assists with the kind of job that Reagan does. There's like a tremendous amount of responsibility on his shoulders,
Yep.
and he's not the sort of person who handles that very well. Hence the percentage gimmick
Yep.
out of 100. So yeah, we'll probably see him hit 100 sooner rather than later because he was at 67 at the end of this episode.
67. All right.
2/3 of the way there.
Yeah, 2/3 of the way. Exactly. Well, I also think that it's the kind of attitude, that people usually make light of. Don't make too much serious thought about, like on the scam, on these, like they thought that was just a scam and they just, you know, discuss and move on. But it's more about, like you said, like on this negative response can somehow affect to other people, and mob aware of that.
Right.
Reagan isn't aware of that,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's gonna be. I do hope though that mob gonna be, like against Reagan ideas. I don't think they're gonna go that way though. I think that, like Reagan gonna be the one who bring mob back to
Yeah,
his
that's kind of how it was in the
insanity.
first season.
Yeah, that's so. But I do love to see if mob gonna be, like some of his thinking gonna be against Reagan ideas. He gonna reject Reagan's concepts of, like putting everything very lightly.
Perhaps.
Hopefully,
You just want Mob to be like his own person.
right?
Yeah. Well,
To be
I think we'll get there one way or another. Whether Reagan is a part of that or not, I don't know. But
right.
if we're at 67%, we're coming up on something.
Yep, yep. I think the next episode gonna be something worse gonna happen. So that it's gonna hit cycle mob, progressions.
Right, towards his explosion.
Yep, that's right.
All right.
All right.
Any other thoughts or notes about this episode, or should we move on to another series?
We should move on to another series. Just this episode is still very good for me.
All right.
Mob Psycho 100 rocks.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to watch every week.
All right, what was the next show that you was mentioning in the beginning? Is that Kaguya or is that Dodoro?
Kaguya-sama. Yeah.
All right, Kaguya-sama. Here it comes.
Yep.
All right,
It's good. I like it.
I must say that I like it. I like Kaguya-sama the series more and more as I watch. So the first episode I was a bit meh on that, and then it gets better in the second episode, and I think that the third one is best so far. It's one of my favorites so far.
Some of us recognize the show's brilliance from the start. Let's.
All right.
I won't fail to point that out.
All right.
Why'd you like this one the best of the three?
And I think part of the reason is that it keep it keep making its formula fresh. So like I already mentioned you about how I think that it keep repeating the same formula. How I was worried about it doing the same formula all over again. This episode though they try to make it different. So usually we can see like how the two of them, how both Kaguya and Miyuku.
Shirogane. Oh, okay.
Shirogane, you say?
Yeah.
All right, that's you know what that from which series? Shirogane.
It's from what?
It's from what series? That you had a name.
I'm not sure what you're saying. Shirogane is the name of the president. It's his family name.
Oh right, because Shirogane is also the name of the character in Karakuri Circus.
Ah, okay. Which one?
The girl.
Okay.
All right. Get back to Kaguya-sama. So previous episode always see like how each of them, Kaguya and Miyuku, think about their own plan in order to suppress one the other. But this episode we can only see the Miyuku train of thought. So Kaguya plan or whatever come into like a total mystery to us, like how Miyuku think as well. So I think that worked out really fine, especially in the second segment, which is
That's the
the
one with the
one.
20 questions.
Yeah, that's right. The 10 questions.
Right. That's actually the only one of the three that is where Shirogane or Miyuki's
Yep.
thoughts are made public to us, I think.
Right.
The
I
first
do.
and the third, it's mostly Kaguya's point of view.
That's
Wait,
yep.
wait. No,
Well, no, no.
I'm wrong about that because the first one is the first time.
Yep. Yeah,
And
the first
that's
time.
kind of split between Kaguya's point of view and his point of view.
Yep. Well, we don't actually know about Kaguya's point of view of the first one. It's more about Miyuku, what he think.
We're
His,
no, we're
he
we're inside
panic.
her. We're inside her
Uh,
head for part of it when she's thinking about. Remember, she thinks that she's got a leg up on the other two, and that they're trying to catch up to
oh,
her, and then
right,
she
right.
envisions
That's right.
Shirogane like, confessing to her as a result.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. So like the biggest punt in the first episode is that this Kaguya doesn't really know what is the first time mean.
Right.
It's alright. It's funny, but when you say that, when you say it like that, it's not that hilarious.
I think it's pretty funny. I mean, it lets you know that she's a very sheltered
Mm-hmm.
character, or at least it reinforces it because we already knew that to a degree because she's part of the Shinomiya
Yeah,
family.
the daughter in the box. I think that's what they say.
Yeah. There's a moment in that first segment or first chapter, however you want to call it, since each episode is split into 3 parts.
Yep.
There's a moment where it's what I was talking about before when she's kind of envisioning herself as being more sexually aware or more cultured or
Yep. Mm-hmm.
whatever the proper term is, and she's envisioning like Shirogane's nervousness with
Mm-hmm.
and so she thinks of him as panicking, and then there's a bunch of text boxes like he doesn't know what he hasn't had his first time. And then he wants his first time to be with Kaguya, so he's going to confess to her. There's all those text boxes that show up against the black background. And then from the last text box, his character like emerges. He like stumbles out of it and then runs up to Kaguya, all still taking place in her mind.
Yep.
And I thought that was a really neat visualization of her thought process because it kind of links her need to defeat him with her attraction to him and her desperation for him to be the one to admit his feelings.
Well, I do think that the visual of the show pretty nails made all of the moments, especially in the character thought process.
Right. Yeah, that would be important since there's a lot of internal dialogue or monologue, and they're both characters are depicted as very intelligent and also very prideful. So, if they came off as anything less, and if their thoughts were, if their thoughts were visualized more ordinarily, then their characters wouldn't have the charm that they do.
That's right.
They'd be a lot more boring, and all of their mind games might seem, like overblown.
Yep.
As opposed to feeling like humorous, but also having some stakes to them.
Yep. That's when we get into the third sections, in which we get off the president and get into like Kaguya life, basically.
Yeah, and we get to leave the student council room.
That's right. So we see her, like just have a walk into the school, helping out other people, and it's a prank of its formula, and I really like it. I like to know more about Kaguya, and I got it.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm happy, man.
You wanna know? I guess what? I read some of the manga. I
All
said I
right.
wasn't going to, and then I did anyway. Uh,
Hold on,
do you,
hold on. So did you read like everything,
no,
like until up to? All right. Yep.
no. I read far enough that I recognized the events of all three of these segments,
Right.
these chapters.
Yep.
Um, so do you want to know even more about Kaguya?
All right. Yep. Tell me.
She actually put the cat in underneath the hood of the car.
Oh, now that makes total sense actually.
She set it up. Yeah, because remember
Yep.
she was planning on ambushing Shirogane as he was riding his bike to work at a
Yep. 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 Yep.
particular point on his route.
Right.
So she actually did that.
Yeah. Well, I thought that the cats were stuck inside the cow's wheel.
Yeah.
So yes, now that explains it. Right.
She's
Uh,
devious.
all right. There are two things in this in this episode that I like the most. The first one, I gonna save the best for the last. So you know what I mean already. You know what I'm referring to already. But the
I'm
first one,
not sure. I'm not sure that I do.
all right. I really like one of them was like the fast forward of the
Oh, at the start.
at the start of the private of like the uh the
The
catalyst,
introduction.
the introduction. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just like the humor of it. You know, like there's no point of repeating that every single episodes, and they know it.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed. Like when the
Yeah.
episode first opened and I heard him say,
Yep.
it's everyone thinks it's a great thing to confess, but not really. I was like, "Oh no, we're going to get this every week." I mean, I guess that's okay, but
Yep.
and then the fast forward happened. Even before that though, it wasn't the same visual
Yeah.
as the
Yeah.
previous 2 weeks. It was the same guy and the girl,
That's
but
right.
different backgrounds, different angles.
Oh, that's reminded me of remember like the last week we have the preview of like the girl gonna be asking for advice. We
Yeah,
actually
what
didn't get that this week.
Yeah, what's the deal with that? I wanted to know about her situation. I thought it would be kind of cool if it were like a little runner through every episode. There was like at least some amount of time dedicated to the whole situation with Kashiwagi and
Yeah.
the advice seeker, the guy who did the Kabe down.
Maybe it was just teasing us. Basically, the show just teasing us.
What? That's a really weird approach to take if that's the case. Why would you?
No. I just for an episode, I think. So like the next one, maybe they get back to that.
Maybe.
But it just like defy our expectations. So like we
Okay.
expect we expect that it's gonna be happen this week, but it's not. I like it though.
I I don't see the reason for that. Like, what? Why delay it? Why delay it a week? How is that? How is
Oh,
the
oh,
payoff going to be any better if we just have to
oh,
wait an extra 7 days?
all right. Maybe that doesn't happen at all. Think about that.
Well, then that's lame.
No, no,
That's not
that
funny
that
or anything.
that actually worked out fine for me. If that just like that just that was just them teasing us. I I'm good with that.
All right.
All right, and get to the very best moment of the show, the ED. We got the new ED this week, and it's spectacular. It's just wonderful. It's just I run out of the objective. Extraordinary. What do you
You're
think
talking
about the
about
ED?
Fujiwara like dancing around and stuff.
That's right.
I thought it was
And
fun. I thought it was fine.
all right, I
Uh,
think I think the dance itself is really well animated, just to say the least.
I think it's
The
Go ahead.
Yep. I think that was rotoscoping. Not really sure though. I think it was rotoscoping. The way that she move, the how smooth that she dance.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of speculation about that online. Personally, I think it was a combination of CG and rotoscoping.
All right.
When you notice her dancing, I think that there's CG involved somehow.
Mm.
Because and the reason I think that is because sometimes when CG characters turn their heads from left to right,
Yep.
their eyes are not rendered properly. Like the eyes are not. I don't know the best way to put this, but the eyes aren't like glued to the face. They're kind of floating above it a little bit.
All right. I think I get what
Um,
you mean. Yep.
so when in some of the scenes when Fujiwara like turns her head, her eyes, we don't get the side perspective. Not quite. There's like a little bit of an uncanny valley thing for me going on
Hmm.
in the ED, and it's a little distracting, to be
All
honest.
right.
So
Well, I
I
all
know
right.
that lots and lots of people are like big fans of the ED.
Yep.
Um, but I like Fujiwara. I think she's a great. She's not exactly a straight man,
Yep.
but she kind of plays a role that's similar to one because she's always interrupting, the back and forth and the banter and the mind games between
Hmm.
the two leads. Um, so I like her character, and I do like that she's a bit of a ditz and a bit of an airhead.
Hmm.
Um, so it kind of makes sense that she would do this little dance because she's a fun lover.
Yep.
And the song is cute and everything, but like as a total package, I just am pretty lukewarm on it. I thought it was
Mm.
fine.
All right. To everyone who listened to this podcast to this point, to the ED of Kaguya-sama, don't listen to Whooper. It's just well animated. It's just well choreographed, and it just a well sing along song.
I mean, they don't have to listen to me or not listen to me. The entire internet's already in love with it. It doesn't.
Yeah, that's right.
Really,
And I also like the bug as well.
yeah, that's from a manga chapter.
Is it
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Wow.
So I think they're probably just planning not to adapt that chapter, and they just threw it in as an Easter egg in the ED. Her
Huh.
letting the bug fly out the window.
Wow. Right. All right. I if I have to guess, I will say that the next few episodes they're gonna expand the cast more, because for now we just we get to know like the boy and the few girls from the episode 2, but apart from that it's just like the 3 man show so far.
Well, we
Two
still
man
have to meet
show.
the fourth member of the student council.
Yeah, that's right. We see him like running to the room and running out of the room. We didn't actually see his face either.
All we see are his shoes
Yeah, that's right.
crossing over the threshold, like the door, passing through the door frame, and
Yeah,
that little
yeah,
black and white kind of sketchy segment. It only lasted a couple seconds because that's the I think the reason it's directed that way is because his character is like in and out and nobody ever really sees him
yep.
because he just avoids everyone. But
But see,
I think he'll show up eventually.
yeah, and he still get like the perfect attendance score.
Right? Yeah.
So like
Somebody
he,
mentions that Kaguya or Shirogane. Somebody.
that's right. All right. So one last question before we move on to the next show. Uh, when you read the manga, is that like better? How do you feel about the manga, like
No.
this chapter that you read?
The anime for me, the anime is definitely better.
All right,
It's
gotcha.
a really really good adaptation. I
Mm.
think they're going the extra mile with this one.
Which is good.
Yeah, I mean, I came to the manga late, so
Yeah.
my I'm probably a little bit biased, and I'm sure many manga readers would shake their fists at me if they heard me say this, but I like the anime better.
All right. Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to the next one. Dororo, is it?
I had Dororo last, but we can do that
All
one
right.
next.
No. We gonna do like Yoda, so we gonna do Promise Neverland now.
Okay. How'd you feel about Sister Krone's musical number in her room when she was singing to the doll?
I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't hate Sister Crone. I think she's because like all of the other characters, the three kids and Mama um Isabel, they a bit like to themselves. they never act out. So we need a character to like really act the way they think, really like spill it out to us, or like over the top. And Sister Crow is good so far. She served the role so far.
Why do we need a character who's over the top in a story like this?
She gonna add more urgency. It because like it used to be more just like a mind game, like everyone know that what the other thinking. No, so like it is more of like what appear in the surface is like still, but there's like a whole lot of going on under the surface. So this sister
That's good.
All right, thank you. This sister gonna like stir off the surface.
No,
And
what
I
I
think
what I meant was it's good for things to be below the surface, so they need to be read into. That's what's good.
all right. Well, so I think this sister meant to be like getting more stake into the already high stake drama thriller, and like stir up the surface, so that there is more like urgent, there is more like immediate urgency to all these situations, which
I see.
we get into like the chase, the tag games that she also joined with the kids.
Right. She runs really fast.
Yep.
She's a singing, running character.
All right. So from what I gather that you don't really like this character, right?
She pretty much sucked all the intrigue out of the series for me.
All right.
I already did not care very much about what was going on,
Yep.
but now it's an unintentional comedy.
All right.
She is a buffoon.
Yep.
The fact that the kids are like so frightened of the adults is now humorous to me.
Right.
Everyone is speaking too loudly when they should be whispering in hushed voices, or just thinking things to themselves. The games of tag are totally like they're just I don't know why this is such a major plot point, why the game of tag is such a major plot point in a series where human children are being eaten by demons. I'm totally lost.
All right. Well, I'm sad to hear that. I still enjoying this show so far. I still enjoy like all the development so far.
There were some big developments in this episode.
That's right.
The most interesting of which to me came from Isabel's phone call to whoever her supervisor or her boss is, apparently.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
She was using that old-fashioned looking transmission equipment, which kind of reminded me of the TV show The Americans.
All right.
Which is a series about Russian
Spy.
spies in America
Yeah.
during the Cold War. They use a similar looking machines. And she talks to someone named Grandma, and there's a mention of something called Titori, which might be like a place or an event where the demons eat like really high quality meat.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if we're going to learn a lot more about demon society as we go on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. So one thing we learned that we do learn about their conversation is that they ask like a grandma. So basically like one step above mother and sisters.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I
So,
was a little confused by the kind of the sequencing or the order of events, and that's something that's going to pop up when we talk about the next show too.
all right.
But in this one, she's on the phone, or I'll just say phone. I don't know if it is a phone, but she's on the phone with someone, and then Grandma's voice comes on, and she acts shocked to hear Grandma, as though she was talking to somebody else, and then
Right.
Grandma was like listening
Um,
in and kind of interrupts their conversation. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I think that what happened was she going on the daily routine, that she just transmitting that like everything is fine. I'm from that plant, blah blah blah. So like she doesn't expect to like to receive the answer from anyone. So when she heard grandma voice, she was kind of surprised. That's what I take from that.
Okay.
Uh,
All right.
and all right. Another thing that we learned is that the tracking device. So
What do we
so
learn
like
about
the
tracking device?
all right the kids learn that
Oh yeah.
mother Isabella have to track them by something. Remember the tracking that she got the other day.
Well, yeah, we learned
She
that in the
showed
second
them the other day.
episode. But you're talking
Yep.
about the ear thing, right?
Yeah. So they have to learn like where they plant them into the body. So they look at the Caron, the younger,
Yeah.
and they do learn that it's in the ear. So I think that's neat. That
Do you
makes
think the
sense.
kids are gonna like cut off their ears?
No,
or-
I don't think so. I think their plan right now is just like the moment that they escape, they're gonna get rid of that. They're
Right.
not gonna cut off their ear though.
Well, then how do they get it out?
They just pull it out from the ear.
But the bump is no longer there on the older children, so it's probably deep in there. They're gonna have to like get a knife, or scissors,
Right.
something really like bloody.
Yep.
So is that gonna happen when they're
Right.
when they're coming up on their escape attempt? They're all gonna be like disable them all at once.
So that's what their plan is right now, and I think it's plausible.
You think it's what?
Plausible. I
You
think
it's
that
plausible?
yeah, like
I don't know, man.
the solution they come up with right now.
What solution?
So they're not gonna destroy that tracking device now because they're afraid of the signals, the alarm when
Right.
it destroyed. So they're gonna do that like on the day they escape. So
Yeah, how is that plausible though? How are they going to spring
Alright.
that on everybody right before they escape? Like especially since they're babies and young children. Okay, everybody, we're all going to play a game of tag now. We're going to go into the woods, but first,
this time
Shing!
gonna be
And
serious.
they pull out a knife.
Yeah, well, right.
I don't think that I don't think there's much about this show that is plausible.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah, well,
I'm just like along for the ride. I'm kind of strapped in, and I go wherever the roller coaster takes me
all right. Seatbelt
with a
seatbelt
blindfold
already
on. I'm blindfolded while this is happening in this metaphor.
All right, seatbelt already on, so you can escape from it.
Oh, it's more than a seatbelt. It's like a safety harness, man. And even no matter how much I struggle, I can't get out.
All right, there's one more development of this episode that I gonna say now on as well. Is the kids suspect that there is one member from the kids who was the informant.
Oh yeah, I didn't even write that down, but the show is kind of hinting at Glasses Girl.
Yeah, I think it's kind of obvious the way like the camera just keep moving back to her every
Yeah, but
time.
she might be a red herring.
She might be a red herring. That's right, but isn't that obvious as well?
I mean,
You
it's
know,
less
like-
obvious than it being Glasses Girl after the show like lingers on her for seconds at a time at the end
Yeah,
of some
that's right.
scenes.
I just feel that's a bit like we are a dog, and they put the meat in front of our nose. So that we have to snip in and like just follow the smell of the food. That's what
I mean,
I feel like.
If you think about it, the entire time that you're watching The Promised Neverland, there's meat in front of your nose
All right.
because all the kids are
The
just
kids.
meat.
Well, so that metaphor isn't like off the track.
That's perfect.
All right.
So this is what perfect scorers can do?
That's right. And she fell. So now she know how
How'd he
these
get up
all.
on top of that cliff?
Yeah,
So this is the power of perfect scores?
that's right. All right. All right. I know that you don't like it, but I still enjoy Promise Neverland.
I will say I don't hate it. But its popularity is kind of lost on me.
Right.
I
Well,
or at least I don't I don't share everyone else's thoughts on it.
all right. Because at least compare this show to other shonen shows that become popular in the last few years, like My Hero Academia. I still prefer this one much better.
I would say I like the first 3 episodes of Hero Academy
This
better than the
one.
first 3 episodes of Neverland. Yeah, I'm actually not really against shonen
Hmm.
on principle.
Yep.
I will give them a try.
Yep.
Like the only genre of anime that I pretty much just dismiss immediately is
Is Isekai.
yeah, well, specifically like stuff where it's basically just a video game and they're just aiming for like the otaku anime and video game market. I'll try
All right.
anything else, shonen included.
All right. You remember a few years back there was like a trend of like a magical school, the magical high school where a boy who like who has like all the super talent who is very talented already and
Right,
get
and
like
they're a bunch
all
of
all
girls.
bunch of hiring girls. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually those shows I I don't even know whether I hate them or not cuz I have stayed away. So
All
I
right.
guess that's another category that I won't touch.
Right.
I
Well,
assume that most of those are terrible.
I would suggest you to try one actually to know like all the
No.
joke. I
I'll
think
pass.
I think I tried one of those show before. I don't even know the name.
The
Aster.
Asterisk War.
That's right. That's right. That's the one.
Yeah.
Oh, you even remember the name?
Yeah,
I
but I
don't.
haven't seen it. I just know the name.
Right. It's terrible. It
Yeah,
it it cho-
I would rather watch like
it
20 seasons
choppy.
of The Promised Neverland
All right.
before I try that.
Uh. All right. Let's. You have any other notes on your? You have any other complaint
Yeah.
for
No,
Promise
no
Neverland?
complaints. I actually have one brief note, and
All
that's
right.
that during the game of tag, Sister
Right.
Crone says out loud when she's kind of cornered
Oh
Emma and the
yeah.
two younger kids.
Yep.
She says, "If you saw like she's speaking to Emma, if you saw the harvest, then I'm on
Yep.
your side."
Right.
Which was interesting, and it actually kind of plays into what role I thought Crone would play when I first saw her introduced at the end of the second episode, combined
Mm.
with like the kind of friendliness that she gives off in the OP.
Mm.
Obviously, that was a smoke screen. But I thought that she may become an ally to the kids in some way, and it seems
Ye-
that based on what she said to Emma, that still might be the case. But of course, her motivation is to usurp Isabel.
That's right. So basically, she is the one who will be against Isabel.
Yeah, and it looks like she's willing to ally herself with the kids in order to do it.
Yep. That's right.
But it was mentioned only very briefly, so
It
we'll have to see if that crops back up in future weeks.
That's right. And it also not really subtle the way she say it as well.
Yeah,
Like
that's part of my issue with the show. Like everyone is yelling stuff,
yeah,
and when
just
it's
heard
not
that.
appropriate. But I mean, it is published in Shonen Jump, and if characters aren't yelling, then your series probably isn't going to sell.
Huh. Huh.
There has to be yelling and shouting. That's a rule.
All right. All right. I'm not gonna argue against you with that. Uh. All right. Shall we get to the last shot?
Okay.
No, no, no.
Right.
I feel this episode was really good.
Yeah, me too.
Despite my complaint on the second one,
Well, this
this
one's
one
totally different from episode 2.
that's right. This one was totally different, and this one totally is good as well. It's very solid.
Yeah, I even loved that it was black and white for a good majority
That's
of its
right.
runtime. I mean,
So I
they did things like using colors to represent the different seasons, and blood was red.
Hmm.
That's a pretty common thing in like modern black and white uh, action sequences. For example, they'll make the blood red to heighten the impact, but
Hmm.
um, a lot of it was actually like strictly black and white and gray, and I think it worked.
Hmm. I think
How did you feel? How
kind
did you
of
feel about the black and white?
the black and white was good. I like on the wash out colored, and it add to the fact that this is happened in the past, and this is more like about memories of of a man who like who went through hell, and it actually add to the moral as well, because the moral complexity of Dororo. That this is the man who like who go through basically dark phase of his life.
You're talking about
He
Jukai.
Yeah, I talking about like the main narrations of narrator of the episodes, which
The
I
doctor
don't
Jukai, right?
yeah, what his name again?
Jukai.
UK. Okay, because I forgot to put that in name. Um. So yeah, so it was like he was black, and then he tried to become white. So it's more about a moral complex.
He
The
was
his
black and he tried to become white. Don't try that at home, kids.
All right. he I mean like his moral. So he has went through like his dark phase, and he tried to redeem himself by saving as much people as he could.
Right.
So yeah, it all tie up to that team, and then it tie up to the main characters when he first saw him, and then he basically the one who raised him. I like it. I like the story.
Yeah, me too.
All right, now it's your turn. I try best not to like overstretch myself of the black and white thing.
Okay. I'm gonna say a little more about it.
All right.
uh, there are two reasons why I think that it's a good directorial decision.
Yep.
One is it calls back to the fact that Dororo was adapted before in 1969 as a black and white television series,
Right.
and also it adds to the legacy feeling of the story, I guess, because it is based on a very old manga,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the sort of feudal spiritual revenge tale that could have been black and white entirely, like the whole
Yep.
thing in 2019, and it would have been appropriate just
Yep.
because of the time period and the spirituality of it, kind of the simplicity of the way of life back then.
Yep.
But also I think that with the episode opening at sunset,
Mm-hmm.
and there being like very vivid oranges and yellows and reds all over the screen, as Jukai is forced to like crucify people by uh, you know
By
he's
crucified.
yeah, I mean there are a bunch of people on crosses that are hung up, and as a doctor I assume that Lord Shiba, who he's working for, um, is making use of his skills somehow on the battlefield.
Yep.
And so he's involved in all this horror, and it's extremely vivid, so then he tries to kill himself. We see his body falling off the cliff right before the OP kicks in. So after that everything is black and white, because his existence now is duller and is kind of hazy compared to how like painful and terrible and memorable the war was.
Right. Right.
So I think it makes sense that what follows is black and white, and color slowly starts to enter the episode as it goes on,
Yep.
and as as Hyakimaru grows older and he grows more attached to him.
Yep.
So I thought all that was nicely handled, and I'm sure that many of the people who watched the episode were like, I don't like it because it doesn't have lots of colors. But
Well,
the
they're lost.
yeah, I guess so. So I said when we were talking about Neverland that I had a question not only about that show's sequentiality, if that's a word,
Yep.
but also there's part of this episode that fouled me up a little bit, and that was when we meet Jukai again after the OP and everything's turned to black and white, and he has an apprentice named Kaname,
All right.
whose father died in the war. Remember, he
Yep.
threatens
Yep.
Jukai's
Yep.
life,
Yep.
and Jukai pleads with him like, "Don't kill me. I need to save that boy."
Mm-hmm.
He's probably talking about Hyakimaru.
Nah. He was talking about the boy who lost the aunt.
He was talking about really?
Yep. Because that was when he was saving that boy, and he told him something along the line, which like come back, and I will help you to improve something. So I think he meant to say about that boy,
Okay.
because
All right, if that's the
that was before he met Hiyakimasu.
right. Yeah, that's what confused me. I wondered if maybe they chose to introduce Kaname like
After. Yeah.
kind of in the middle. They put it in
Right.
first in the episode, but that those events had actually happened kind of in the middle of Hyakimaru's upbringing.
Yep.
But it makes more sense if I think about it your way. That
All right, but I do have the same issue though regarding the consequences. So remember, like in one of the fight, Hiyakimaru killed one of the demon, and he got like his leg back.
right.
And I don't remember, like in the first episode, did he already got that leg back?
I think maybe both of his legs were already real in the first episode,
All right.
and it's just his arms that are swords.
All right. That
I mean,
will make no
I might
sense.
be wrong. I didn't go back and look, but I don't remember anything about a prosthetic leg from episodes 1 or 2.
Right. So yeah. All right.
So I
that's
do
explaining.
wonder.
Mhm.
I mean, the show might be kind of playing around with the original source material because we already know they've expanded the number of demons, or they've reduced it actually.
Yep.
They reduced it from 48 to 12. So if that, I wonder if that'll cause any problems if he's already defeated one in the past to get one of his legs back. Because now,
Alright.
how many has he beaten now? 2,
So
3.
what we see so far? 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And-
in the past, in the flashback, he gets his leg back, and then when he defeats the river monster, he gets his face back, the skin on his face, right?
Yep.
And in episode 2, when he defeated Lady, what's her name, Banzai or
Bandai.
Lady Bandai. What his nerves,
Yep.
his nervous system.
All right. The thing is, in the show itself, they don't say like how many demons that he gonna slay in order to get his body back. So
Well, they-
maybe the 12 that we see, the 12 demons, that's gonna be like the 12 that he will eventually kill. So I'm not sure if that including the one that we just saw in the flashback.
Huh. I mean,
Uh,
I would assume that if it's those 12 demons that his father prayed to, then they were the ones to take Hyakimaru's, limbs and organs and things. So they would be the
Right.
ones that he has to defeat. And if he gets a part of himself back after defeating one, then they would be one of the 12. But I suppose that if they're already taking some liberties with the story of the manga, then they can probably adjust it to suit their needs.
That's right. And we also see like a glimpse of of the father and his family right now. So we
Right.
see,
Tahomaru, I think, is the name of the brother.
all right, so that's his name, and he kind of, I think he kind of having a little complex, not that complex. He has been minding about his mothers, and maybe he always has a feeling that that there was the brother that no one ever told him about.
Well, he knows
He knows
about the brother, yeah, because the shrine is set up in their home.
Mm.
He in that scene, I know exactly what you're talking about. He looks past his mother and into their home, and he sees the shrine.
Right.
And we've also seen the mother look over, like in the childbirth scene in
Mm.
this flashback, when the father is so happy that she's born him a son, like an actual heir. She looks
Yep.
over at the
Yep. Yep.
shrine there.
Mm.
So yeah, I think you're definitely not wrong to say that he has a complex. Like he probably senses his mother's sadness
Right.
at the loss of her firstborn son.
Mm.
And you were right. I think it was you who I was talking about this show with, and you said that Tahomaru was going to be significant, and I wasn't too sure about that, but he did pop back up here. And given that we know this about his character now, that he's kind of, that he has maybe this resentment towards Yakimaru, that they might eventually clash in the present.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I think. That's what I think the show gonna go. Yes.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, we'll need to learn a little bit more about Tahomaru. I think
Right.
for if they get into some sort of conflict, we're going to need to know more about him, especially, and probably both parties,
Yep.
for it to carry the weight that it should. But it's early days still. This is a 2 core show. We're only 3 episodes in,
Right.
and
And
we got a
so
nice bit of backstory that's going to stretch. It's gonna really increase our appreciation of everything that follows. I think going forward.
that's right. So as far as this episode goes, Chukai is a good narrator. He have a complex history, backstory, and I also like the last scenes of of this episode where he had Kimaru. He tried to put his leg, hit him in leg into the flames to see that if he can feel the pain, and he did.
Yeah, and he
So
even tries to stick his foot back in, like he's fascinated or somehow even like addicted to that
right.
sensation because he's gone so long without feeling anything.
That's right, and it actually add a bit into his like his character's um development. So I like that. I like that like he not just like just a child.
Right, you get the sense that he really wants to be human, like
That's right.
he
Yep.
has that desire. He wants to be complete, which
Yep.
is why he leaves. That's why he leaves Jukai.
Yep.
Because the monsters are attracted to him. So that's one reason to leave, perhaps, so that the man who raised him would be safe.
Right.
But additionally, I think he welcomes the monsters that come to him. He welcomes the chance to kill them and to become more complete.
Yep. And he actually feel the tears that Chukai when they part ways.
He feels what?
The tears in Chukai eyes. I
I
remember
actually
some.
I was looking closely during that scene. I didn't see him like brush against the tears because I know he's feeling his face.
Yeah, well, that's.
But I didn't see that happen.
Well, yeah, well, I just mean that he do feel like you guys sorrowed when
Right? Yeah.
when they live away. So yeah, I this episode it's improved a lot. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it was good. I thought the animation was really consistent as well. Maybe some of the townspeople who were lined up to see the doctor,
Yep.
they some of their faces, and their movements might not have been as crisp as you would have liked, but because it wasn't like an action heavy episode, there wasn't a fight against like Lady Bondi, for example, in episode 2, where a lot of resources probably have to go into those specific cuts where they're both like
Mm.
dancing around each other and stuff. This one a little bit more subdued, and a little more consistent across the board, I feel.
Mm. I agree.
So that's good.
Yeah. So far, all the 4 episodes we see for this podcast, I already enjoy 4 of them, all 4.
Awesome. I'd say I like 3 of them.
And
And
probably 7 of them.
I don't think any of them are like outright bad.
Yep. Yep.
So I think we're looking good so far with our 4 picks for the season.
Yep, I agree. Well, even Run with the Wind is
Yeah,
alright.
I'm not caught up on that, but I know you said there's some good drama going on right now.
It's consistent at the
Yeah.
moment.
Well, that's good because I already
Alright.
like that show quite a bit.
Yep. Alright, so we get to the next volume of Flower Evils.
Uh-huh.
And I would say, like, after reading this volume, this is the very first time I assume in your point of view that we get a clear a clear look of where the manga is going.
The first time in the entire manga that I get a clear look.
Right. So just what I mean is that, like, after finishing this volume, I think we can know, like, how the manga is going from there.
I mean, I assume it's going to continue to revolve around Tokiwa. Do you want to call her Tokiwa or Aya now that we know her first name?
We basically call everyone by their last name, so let's just go with Tokiwa.
Okay. Yeah, I assume the story's going to continue to revolve around Tokiwa.
All right.
Because she was at the center of much of these 5 chapters.
All right. So let's just get back to what all the developments in this volume. So first, we see Tokiwa boyfriend and his group.
Yeah.
How do you feel about him, though?
Man, I hated chapters 38 and 39.
You hated
Yes.
the quality of the chapters, or is that like the characters?
Just
annoying.
Like
Oh,
the boyfriend being such a cliche.
All right. Yeah.
You know, like he's you know what I was reminded of? Do you remember the Shield Hero first episode where
all right.
there's the 4 heroes and
Yep.
the 3 of them are kind of like condescending towards the main character.
Right.
That's the feeling that I got from watching how Fujiwara, Toji, the boyfriend, how he acted towards Kasuga. He was just acting like very, very like a jock and kind of territorial. And I don't know. It's not so much that his character annoyed me. It's that I don't get anything out of watching a character like that act the way they do. It just feels like it's ripped out of like a live action high school romance from America or something.
All right. I get the sense why he do that, though, because of he basically just jealous. He's basically just think that Tokiwa is too hot, that she attract every single guys, and now that she actually invite one of them to the room, he act a bit, like that.
Yeah.
But I don't like the way he behave. I think the manga actually, hinted on that. They actually want us to feel that this guy acting a bit, a bit too forceful. But I also don't like Kasuga, the way he behave either.
What, that he's just like, I'll go home now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave.
Sorry, I didn't know
can I have a pizza?
I didn't know the impact that that my behavior can cause upon. I will try best not to invade your privacy from now on. Sorry for that.
I'm a ghost. I just bring misfortune wherever I go.
That's right. I'm empty. Everyone is
Right.
empty.
Yeah,
The
and
world is not beautiful. All right. Yep.
Yeah,
We're
there is
done
no
with
other
that.
side. That was actually the worst part of chapter 39 for me. Is like Kasuga's going on about how he's empty and stuff, to Toji in episode 38. So that's why he gets invited along to the hideout. But then after Tokiwa defends him and she storms out, and then Kasuga meets up with her and she's like, "Oh man, I'm empty too, because I like books.
Mm.
I'm back on the books train.
No,
She says I'm
it's not
empty.
become
I'm always putting up a front. Over what? The fact that you like books and your boyfriend doesn't read? Like, what are you talking
yeah,
about?
yeah. Well,
She's totally normal and socially well adjusted, and she's talking about how she's empty.
she feel that she empty because she have to hide her hobbies.
How does that make you an empty person? Just get new
No, no, no,
friends.
no, because he feel that the others are empty because they didn't read book. Okay, okay,
Oh
and
yes,
and,
yeah.
and
I
then
forgot that was
no,
the
no,
qualification for being full is reading.
and then she feel empty because she actually sided with them and don't recognize her hobby anymore.
What do you mean by that? Huh?
What I mean is by she pretended that she doesn't like books, she doesn't enjoy reading book, so
Yeah.
that make her feel that she empty.
Uh,
That make her feel that she becomes empty.
that's really flimsy.
Oh, I know, but well, that's we talking about high school kids who doesn't know what they like, what they exist for. So I can see why they can like sometimes think about all these kind of things.
But Flowers of Evil is not a manga about like high school kids being stupid and stuff and just like, having a bunch of feelings. I thought what I was getting into was like, an exploration of the of
Pervert.
like human darkness.
Right.
But we seem to be moving away from that.
Yep. That's
Troublingly so.
All right.
Like Tokiwa is, she just like, so I think Saiki was right when she said that Tokiwa was just a substitute for Nakamura.
Mm-hmm.
E-
I don't think she's wrong.
not just for Kasuga, but also for the author of this story.
All right.
I
All
don't
right.
know. I mean,
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Kasuga is he won't even say Nakamura's name when they're going around the table and like naming the person they had a crush on in middle school.
Yep.
And I thought that when I first read that, I thought maybe he does it because he's afraid they'll recognize her name. Like maybe the media publicized her name after her suicide attempt. But then I thought, wait, no, then his name would be out there too.
Yep.
So that doesn't make sense. So he just can't say Nakamura's name because he's like haunted by her memory, I guess.
Yep.
And so he's just using Tokiwa as a, she's the stand-in.
Well, one thing is that I don't think he's using Tokiwa as a substitute to Nakamura. It's just more because he find an passion of reading book through her.
Again with the books.
Well,
it's not that impressive if you read stuff. Everybody reads. I'm reading right now.
Apparently that's not the case in the Flower Evil universe. It's
right.
especially some very hard reading book like the Flower of Evils with the flowers with eyes,
right,
with eyeball.
Right.
All right.
I don't know. I just, when Tokiwa said like I'm empty, I'm always putting up a front. That is just, to me, that's like so overblown. And yeah, she's a high schooler. Yeah, she's probably prone to drama, like just being too dramatic. But it also too closely resembles Psyche, what she said like in the first half of the manga. When she
Right.
said, I'm empty, the world is gray. I'm just putting on a face and being the good girl that my
Yep.
parents want and that my teachers want and that my classmates want.
I
When Psyche said it, I was like, okay, yeah, I understand that.
Yep.
When Tokiwa says it, I'm like, get out of here.
all right. The way the show framed it right now is that Tokiwa reminded Kasuga of Nakamura's.
Yeah.
But I think I do think that Tokiwa is more of of the combination between Saiki and Nakamura as well. Now that now that Kasuga is mature enough to actually deal with it. I'm not really sure about that though.
What is he mature enough to deal with?
I mean like women's behaviors.
Well, I don't think he is.
All right, all right. I can back that up though. So like, let's move on to the next important point. Is that Kasuga met Saiki.
Well, we're skipping over him reading the outline of her story.
Oh, Jesus! All right, we can do that. We can do that. Actually, yes. So
He actually says, "This is literally me."
all right. I actually found that part to be a bit flimsy as well. But
Dude, when he looks up from her script with like tears in his eyes.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, like, oh my god, I'm really like the story. You are.
Yeah.
You nailed it, man.
Yeah, if he's doing this to get with her, then he's like an incredible actor. I have nothing but respect for this man.
All right, I think he just feel it, but
yeah, I know that's what we're supposed to get, that he was like really moved, because there are some parallels between her outline and his previous situation in his old town.
But all right, but don't you think that she basically just writes Shiki over again?
Yeah, I actually did think that as I was reading, but I'm sure that Shiki was not the first story of its kind.
Right. I agree.
You know, I can think of what is the name of that mid 2000s horror series with all the like the moe girls with the gigantic eyes and they all get murdered horribly? Why can't I think of it right now? It starts with an H, I think.
Is that the one that where it's made from the visual novel?
Yes.
When they cried.
Yeah, Higurashi. That's right.
Yeah, yep. That's right.
Yeah, that's also set in like a rural, small town, surrounded by mountains and people freaking out about ghosts and stuff. Yeah. Well, I don't know. There are probably thousands of series like that, which is why, and if Kasuga is supposed to be so well read, it makes even less sense that he would be so moved by a story that should be so familiar.
All right, it's relatable. He also say that the main character is basically him, so
yeah,
it's relatable.
10 out of 10.
Yep. All right. So basically, I think the point we're supposed to get from that is that he actually the one who influenced Tokiwa to write.
Yeah.
To just get up and write, and
mm-hmm.
I like that. I like the idea. I don't like the way they do that though.
But with the crying.
With the this is absolutely very good. You need to write sometime, Tokiwa. It's just a bit too.
Okay, I will. I really want you to read it. Let's make out.
No. Well. All right.
I don't know, dude. I'm afraid they're actually going to get together. Like, how can you begin the manga the way you did for the first half, with it being so dark and twisted, and then is it really going to end with them like getting together and being happy together? I really hope not.
All right, we still have like 3 more volumes to know.
I'm afraid.
All right, so the next event is that when they come back from that karaoke, they actually met Saki.
Right.
And I think that is a turn of event.
It certainly is.
Yeah. Well, so you were right. You were saying the last week or so that maybe Saiki or Nakamura will come back.
I mean, I now that Saiki has come back, and it's evident from her conversation with Kasuga that she's still fixated on Nakamura.
Yep.
So at this point, with all the time that was spent talking about her, and the impact that it has on Kasuga, because he's like in tears, in a totally different way than he was after reading Tokyo's manuscript. He's like shattered after Saiki invokes Nakamura's name and says that she's disappointed that he hasn't sought her out.
Yep.
there's no question in my mind that we'll see Nakamura again
All
after all
right.
that.
Yep. I actually like the fact that like even though when they first met again, when she sent him an email to invite him to have lunch the next day, his first reaction was very frustrating.
I actually had a question about that. I was going to ask you about that because
Right,
there are three distinct panels.
right.
There are a bunch of panels that detail his reaction, but three of them focus clearly on his face. And the very first one with like all the speed lines behind him, it looks like he's smiling.
All right. Let me have a quick look on that.
I was yeah,
All right,
I was a little confused by that.
all right. So we got the very first one. After he reading the message, we have like the very close up into his eyes, confused, and then he
I'm
is
not
about. All right, sorry. Yep,
I'm not thinking about the one that's close up on his eyes. That's the second one, isn't it? Like if you're reading right to left.
yep. No,
The first
that's like the whole screen. The whole screen on the upper half, upper quarter. We have like
okay.
a close up the close up on his eyes.
No, that's after the other two. I know which one you're talking about. His eyes are kind of like half lidded. They're kind of closed,
No,
right?
it wasn't no. It
Okay.
was like kind of surprise.
Huh. All right.
Yeah. And then the next panel is like he about to throw his phone.
That's the
And
one
then
with the all the lines in the background, right?
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Can you see that his mouth is kind of curved into a smile?
No. He just panicked. That's what I that's what my take on that. He just panicked.
Okay.
All
Gotcha.
right. All right. Yep.
So
So
he sees the text from her and he's like, "Ah."
it's all coming back again. The flower of evils come back.
Right, that's right. Yeah. I much prefer it appearing in this context rather than, like
Well,
reading as
it
evil.
actually reappear in the context where when they first met again. So
Right.
when right when he sees Psyche, we see that flower of evils again.
Right, yeah. Well, I
Yep.
mean that makes sense because she like her he was so fixated on her and then she assaulted him and burned down the place that he had carved out for himself and Nakamura.
Right.
So she had left like a some sort of scar on him. So it makes sense that he would like feel a darkness creeping up on
The,
him,
you
seeing
even
her again.
didn't mention the event where she basically raped him.
That's what when I said assault. That's what I meant.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, but yes, of course that shouldn't be downplayed. That's actually that's in chapter 39 when they're going around the table and kind of like teasing him
Right. Yep.
and one of them says like, "Oh, are you a virgin?"
Yep.
And he doesn't say anything. The answer is no, but the circumstance is probably too painful to talk about.
That's
I mean,
right.
who would want to bring that up?
That's right. And
So yeah, it totally makes sense for the flower of evil to rear its head when he sees Psyche because she's kind of twisted. When she says like I'm empty and like the world is ugly and I when she says it I believe it.
all right. I think for the context of Twisted Note, I do feel like all these people here, except from Nakamura, so basically Kasuga and Saiki was all basically normal people like us, but due to the circumstances that they get bogged down, they get down into the spiral down into the state of evilness. That's what I take. So like even in normal
Right.
circumstances, without all these Kasuga and Psyche still can still be a normal people without uh just having some of the crisis about themselves and that's it. but but yeah, due to this case, they actually will have a burden of like they are not normal people.
I,
So
I yeah, I mean I know what you're saying, but I kind of feel as though nobody is quote unquote normal by those
yeah,
standards.
that
Everybody has something in them that, if the right circumstances arise, like you said,
yeah,
could cause them to kind of go off the deep end. You know, for
that I
them to get
agree
in.
as well.
I think that's one of the major um, kind of points
Mrs.
that the manga puts forward in its first half is that
Right. Yep.
the potential existed in Kasuga and in Saiki and in even in all the shit eaters that he holds himself above, even like in anyone and everyone.
Hmm.
um, you like you're not exempt.
Right.
This could happen to anyone. It could happen to you or me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's I
And
agree.
Nakamura was just the catalyst, I
That's true.
suppose.
Mm.
But at the same time, like I recognize that, but I also, and this is something I think I brought up like week after week when we talk about the manga. I just feel I still feel as though I don't know enough about Kasuga. Like
Mm.
even though there's like a shared human condition that allows for this sort of degeneracy and darkness to take hold of you. Um, I want to know what it is about Kasuga specifically that like helped him along in falling into the pit that he did. And
Right.
I still don't have that as of now.
Mm. All right.
And you know, I don't for Psyche either, but I feel as though her characterization was pretty strong in
Mm.
these two chapters and in you know the chapters where she raped Kasuga and lit his you know his hideout on fire. Like the way that her insecurities rose to the surface so suddenly, it was clear what exactly she was like afraid of and jealous of,
Mm.
and how her life up to that point had been like too stifling and she was too under control. So it all came out like
Yep.
that. I still don't have that. I still don't have that for Kasuga.
Right. Because I remember she also mentioned the fact that she feel satisfied that the two kids wasn't able to die on that day and
Right.
live on as a ghost. She said like if they had died, she wouldn't know what to do.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah. She said she would have gone crazy
yep, that's
or
right.
something like that, which is very strong statement.
And
And
I
I
actually
she go ahead.
sorry, I actually do believe that that
Yeah.
she would lose her mind.
Yeah. Me too. Because she accuses Kasuga of using Tokiwa as a substitute for
Right.
Nakamura. Uh, and regardless of you know whether you feel that's true or not as a reader, it makes total sense that Psyche would think that because
Yep.
she built up Nakamura in her head as like the perfect rival and the ultimate woman
Right.
even
Mm-hmm.
who she couldn't surpass.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why she says she's disappointed in Kasuga because he hasn't been going after her. Because if she thinks of Nakamura as like you know someone who's too far away for her to touch, like someone who is unattainable and impassable, then if Kasuga doesn't think the same way that she does, despite the fact that he loved her, then he loved Nakamura. Then she's like her image of Nakamura is shattered, and her excuse for like not being able to take hold of Kasuga back when she wanted him is gone. So like you know all of her anger and her vindictiveness comes out. So I liked the last two chapters, 41 and 42, for that reason.
And this also the fact that she know that Kasuga is running away from from the past, from everything. So she know that,
Well,
and
so
she
is she.
yeah she happy now. Kasuga isn't happy.
I don't think Psyche is happy.
Well,
She's got the boyfriend who
look exactly like him.
Tokiwa notes, just as she looks sort of like Nakamura, that her new man looks kind of like Kasuga.
Mhm.
And she makes this appointment the night, like the very night that she gets his contact information. She's like, "Hey, let's go, let's eat, let's like catch
And
up."
all
And
right,
she does it just so she can get it off her chest, what she wants to say to him. So I think she's still fixated on Nakamura especially, but she's still got some choice words um for Kasuga as well.
all right, but do you think that like her doing that, meeting Kasuga and let her steam off like that, is a good way to get so that she can move on.
Um, I don't think that she will. I mean, maybe that was her
Right.
intent,
Yep.
but I really do think that she's like kind of crazy.
All right. that's that's so harsh of you to say
I
that.
don't think so, man. She's a rapist.
All right.
Like she's an actual. Wouldn't you say that most
She the
rapists? I mean,
Isis as well.
by like societal definition, are crazy. They're
All
just
right.
so far outside the norm, you know.
All right. I still can say that she's one of the norm.
You can say that she is one of the
Yeah. Yeah.
normal. Okay, yeah, I definitely don't think so.
All right.
Her behavior, she's a pathological criminal,
She's
and
yes.
I think she's a ticking time bomb.
All right. All right. So one thing I think she disappointed about that as well. So like you say, the way that Kasuga hasn't met Nakamura, but she also disappointed about how Kasuga just tried to forget everything, including her. I don't know on your translations, on your French translations. What is the last word that she said?
The last word that she said, I don't know. I can look it up right now.
No, no. This is say like goodbye, like bye bye, or this is say like farewell. Because I remember
I
like
mean,
I had the
those mean the same thing.
well, farewell is more like they will never see each other again.
Oh yeah, I suppose you're right.
So from my translation, it's like it's just a normal goodbye. But I remember
Uh,
from the fan translation, it's more like like they would never see each other again.
Let me see.
Peace,
I'll
bye
look it
bye.
up right now. Okay, Manga Rock, just let me go where I want. Wait, what? Oh, I'm on the wrong chapter. Oops. Wow, I actually just kind of spoiled
42.
myself a little bit. Um, she says, I'm disappointed. Then she says, I'm going. Thanks for today.
Yep.
That's it.
No. So the next two panels.
Thank you. Oh, I'll pay for everything. Yes, that will be 1,460 yen.
And then the next one.
Thanks for your patronage.
Yep. And then the
Thank-
next one.
That's the next one has no dialogue. It's just a shot of her walking.
No. I mean the next page.
The next page. Oh,
Yep.
Kasuga-kun, bye-bye.
Bye bye. All right. I got bye bye as well. But I get the because I remember I get the impression that she say something like they will never see each other again.
Oh, well, that's kind of just telling... The fact that you remember it that way is kind of just telling me that they actually don't see each other again.
Huh.
Because that's not in the text, but you have that recollection.
Right. Oh wow. All right.
So I guess they never see each other again.
Oops. Spoilers.
I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't have been surprised if they did see each other again. Like if Psyche came back and went like went even crazier. But she
Yeah.
the path that she's chosen to walk is like that of normal everyday happiness. So if she can commit to that and pretend for her whole life as though she's a normal human being, then that's probably going to be good for her and for society at large.
All right. I'm always defend for her. Okay. So.
Why are you defending a literal rapist?
I just feel for her. I just think that I understand why she does, why she did what she did.
I
And,
I don't really
and
feel for her. I pity her.
I do think that, like right now is like her best options. It's like what she try best, what is best for her actually.
Yeah. What she's doing, like trying to move on, is what's best for her.
Right, yep.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I mean, what should she do instead? Like,
uh,
find more stuff to burn.
find no, looking, find where Katsuga lives so that she can stab him in the back,
Right.
like some yandere.
I don't think she's like that. She's not
Or
that crazy.
or try to
Um,
grab him again.
yeah. Well, I don't think I think she's still fixated on him, kind of.
Kind of,
But
yes.
I don't think she's romantically interested in him anymore.
Right.
I kind of doubt that she ever was. I think that she just thought of him as like an alternate option.
So is it like what her best friend I think I remember said to her once that this is not a love that you think it is, something along
Well,
that line.
I says you're not in love. You're just in love with the
Yeah.
idea of being in love. But I don't even think it was that, to be honest.
All right.
I think that somewhere in Psyche's mind, she saw the pressure of being, the good girl that everyone hopes for, and she saw Kasuga as the other option.
Hmm.
So she pursued him as a way of, like,
To escape.
yeah, to escape from that pressure. I don't know. I don't know if she was ever like really attracted to him. I mean, I suppose she was because of what she does to him. Like there has to
Yep.
be an element of physicality there.
Hmm.
But I don't believe that she ever loved him. I don't think so. I wonder if she's
Oof.
the sort of person who can love.
Hmm. So that goes the same thing for Kasuga and maybe and for sure for Nakamura as well.
Yeah, perhaps. I would say that definitely Nakamura does not love Kasuga.
All right.
Um,
The house.
she she's she's the kind of person who, like, if anyone is the sort of person who can't experience like the emotion, love, or care or anything, I think it would probably be Nakamura, because she's
Hmm.
the actual like basket case.
Hmm.
But who
All
knows?
right.
Maybe everyone will get a happy ending.
Yeah, maybe. All right. So
We'll just have
we
to
got
find
like
out.
3 volume left, right?
Mm-hmm.
So until
Yeah.
then, we will know.
Yep. That's going to be in about a month, I guess, because we're taking next week off.
Yep. All right. So yeah, we will taking the next week off, but we're gonna be back in 2 weeks time. So
Wrap it up.
yep. Glad to see. Hope to see you guys again, and yeah, just hope that we have a good season of anime ahead. I think it has been pretty good so far.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, 3 shows have been.
for so for me, 4 out 4, and even like the other stuff as alright as well.
Yeah,
E-
dude, gotta love Girly Air Force.
Even Seal Hero isn't that bad.
I'm glad you can find something of value in it.
All right,
Very open minded.
I am. I always am. All right, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you then.
Bye.